Thank you, everyone, for joining our meeting today. Just to tell you a little bit about us, we're IT Expert Systems, and we do a lot of IT training as well as staffing, and we have other services. And it is a pleasure and honor to be hosting you, Sarah, as well as Moji. Myself, my name is Sohail Idris. I am the Business Development Manager at IT Expert in Naperville branch. And we are putting this video together for our students as well as our viewers on YouTube. And please, Sarah, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, so it's my pleasure to be here to assist the IT expert. Definitely, I'm very excited. My name is Sarah, and I'm working for JP Morgan Chase for over 6 years, 6+ years. Currently, I'm working as a product owner to their wealth management product client, Mortgage Solutions Center, and I love my job right now.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Hi, Moji. How about you? Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. My name is Moji, and I am a past student of IT Experts in Schaumburg and Naperville. I currently work at the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, and I'm a senior data analyst working on information security data. And I'm happy to be doing this video for IT Experts. They're part of my career family. So thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. At IT Expert Systems, see, we develop a long-term relationship. We are your partners in your career. So anytime you need to upgrade your skill, learn something new that is available in the market, that is something hot, we are your companions in that journey. And it's a great honor and pleasure for us. Sarah, what is your typical day like at work? Can you please tell me?
So most of my day starts with a meeting, daily Scrum calls in the morning. Then, of course, lots of emails to either send, to reply, confirm. We also have to make sure our projects are staying on top of it. We're meeting the deadlines. That we are delivering the products on time. Not only we are delivering on time, but we also have to make sure that we are delivering the high quality product. So in order for us to deliver the high quality product, there's a lot of work that goes behind the scene, like user stories, brush it up, make sure everything that we are touching every features that's supposed to be delivered, and that we understand what the requirement is. And if not, then communicate and ask the questions again and again if it need to be, so that we are actually delivering what is expected.
Thank you, Sarah. Moji, what is your typical day like at work?
Sure. My typical day at work is pretty much I log in. I'm still working from home, by the way, due to COVID. We're not yet back in the office. So the night before, I typically like to look at my calendar for the next day so that I can just have a sense of, what kind of day I'm going to have. So when I log in the morning, I check emails and I look on Teams to see if there are any messages that I missed. I check emails for things that I have to either reply or things I have to take note on to attend to. And then I'm currently serving as a Scrum Master on my team with my data analytics role. So first thing in the morning, first meeting that we have is usually the daily Scrum meeting. So everyone joins, the call in Teams, and we kind of go around and give, different statuses and updates for our different tickets on Jira. So after that, we may have other ceremonies. It depends on the day or other meetings within the team or within the bank. And throughout the day, I just kind of work on the tickets that I have open. So typically, usually analytics tickets or maybe some other request. But for analytics tickets, it'll be things like somebody needs something, for analysis, creating reports, dashboards, and maybe some sort of demo or presentation for either my team or management or the client, whoever's looking for for that type of work, looking for insights from the data, finding, making recommendations and things like that from the data. So basically a little bit of Scrum Master work, serving leadership on the team, and then also my data analytics duties. So basically, and then taking, pings and, calls and requests from people throughout the day sometimes if it happens that way. So that's my typical day in a nutshell.
Wow, that's really interesting. I mean, both of you are in the financial industry, and that's pretty nice. You know how your day goes. It's really busy, and I can imagine it's fast paced to a degree also. And so, Sarah, what tools and technology are you using at work nowadays?
So number one tools definitely I think we all must know is Excel and Microsoft Word, PowerPoint. But apart from that, I also say Jira, Tableau, Smartsheets, Microsoft Visual, Draw.io, Mind Map. I love using that because I love brainstorming before I start anything. So that really helps me. And then Project Professional, which I know that you need to pay, but there is a Project Libre which is free, and I highly recommend everybody to learn that because it really helps you, even if you're whatever the company that you're working for, even if they don't require it. It's really nice to just create that project, any projects that you're working on, to keep yourself on track to see where you stand, and then even to give a report to anybody in case if they need it.
Thank you. And Moji, what tools and technology are you using at work?
Sure. For team type work, like collaboration type tools, we use Teams. We also have Skype. We used to use Skype. We kind of transitioned to Teams. So we have both. So it just depends, but we use Teams more now. It's encouraged. For work, we use Jira. It's where we have all our stories, our story mornings, and things like that. And then for like technical tools, we use Splunk. We use Splunk, and then we also do some analysis in Splunk as well. And then we use tools like, I've used Tableau a little bit as well. That's typically what we use. We use like Jenkins, for some other stuff, CI/CD, some automation type stuff. We use it as well. Typically, most of what we use day to day. I mean, there's some other tools that are open. If somebody wanted to use R, they can use it, or like Python or things like that, they can. But basically, for the most part, those are the tools that we mainly use on a daily basis.
Thank you very much. Sarah, how do you keep yourself up to speed with technology and trends that are going on?
That's a great question. So with everything that's going on, one thing I have to say is that just upgrading yourself, being very flexible, and be accepting and to accept any changes, to adopt any changes that's coming in, especially with the COVID situation and with the ever-changing technology that we have. I highly recommend, and I highly say that just keep learning more, keep brushing up, and you can never say, okay, I've learned it enough and this is it. There's because whatever is out there, you have to learn and keep yourself upgrade on that.
Thank you, Sarah. Moji, how do you keep yourself up to speed with technology and trend?
So there are different groups within the organization that you can join. So some of the ones I remember are like women in IT groups. We have some Black in technology groups and things like some analytics groups that are dedicated to analytics, where we have like different webinars and meetings and things like that, so that we can keep ourselves up to speed with what's going on, not just in our teams, but what's going on in the bank and also the outside world as well. And then we have some members of the teams that are not analysts. They're more on the admin side or they're engineers. So they use some other tools and technologies like Linux, for example, AWS, Azure, cloud is one place where we're moving towards right now. We're pretty much hybrid. So we have on-prem and we have some cloud technology. So everyone is encouraged to learn about cloud. So, they provide a training, either a training through AWS or training through a portal. So we're required to take the training and then also encouraged to do certifications as well. So those are some of the ways that I improve myself with technology. I also have my personal time where, Google things and I talk to like minds outside the bank so that I can understand what's going on in the industry and what's trending. So that's pretty much how I try to keep up with the variety of ways. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I am I'm actually glad you touched upon cloud technology and being the big financial institutions that both of you are working. Sarah, how does your your company, does it focus on technology at the premises, or do they integrate into cloud? Are they integrating more and more things into the cloud?
So yeah, they are in a process of integrating into cloud as well as digitalizing everything. As far as for example, right now we're in a mortgage solutions and basically just converting everything into a digital, because that's what it is. All the competitors are out there, and if you don't keep up, then you're pretty much going to lose the business. So yeah, being digitalized and going cloud is pretty high right now.
I think that is going to be the future. Everything, as much as they can put, everything will be on the cloud. As we get more free from the desktop and the laptops, and we get more integrated with technology using wearable devices, it will be accessing the cloud. And it's pretty exciting, actually. And also, what challenges, if I was to say, what challenges businesses are facing nowadays, especially in your industry, Emoji?
What I would say is some of the challenges that a lot of businesses are facing specifically within the data analytics space is finding talent. I think it's a struggle finding like the right people who have the right skills, know the right technologies, without having to handhold them, who can come in and just kind of, they get it, they get their hands dirty and they start, being productive with very minimal, direction too. So I think that's a struggle for the industry in particular, finding people who have that, who have the skill sets and the talent that, you know, that's needed to get the job done or to move the team forward into a more advanced analytics sort of space. Another challenge that I think my industry is facing is, there's so many tools and technologies out there. When we sort of when I started doing analytics, there were a few, tools that were out there. It was Tableau, it was R. R has been around forever. And it was Python, which is great because then you can use the libraries and you can do a lot of different nice, cool things with Python without spending so much time like a different language like Java or a different language. So those are basically the tools. Excel has been around forever, SQL, but right now there's so many tools out there. So I think also figuring out which tools work best for the work you're doing or the team, I think that could also be challenging to sort of figure out which ones to use. There's open source, there's commercial, I think it's a challenge in figuring out what exactly, you need for your work or for the team. So that presented a challenge within the industry.
Thank you, Moji. Sarah, what about you? What challenges businesses are facing nowadays in the banking industry?
So the challenges has always been there, but I think currently we all know with the one with the COVID, ever-changing situation, but it's not just a COVID, it's a technology that just keeps changing. And we all know that. So to have your employees keep up with all the skills and all the new technology and all the new applications that are out there, to have them, up to date, upgraded, up to skills. So what happens is a lot of these people have been sitting there for a long time. They've been using the old technologies. They're not open to accept the new ways, new technology. So these are some of the challenges that we have. People are not seasoned to do their job. So like I say, talent, there's, not enough talent to do a particular job. Competition. There's a lot of competition out there. So you're just, and number one challenge I also feel is that teams are working silo instead of working collaboratively. If they do the job together and understand each team together, I think they could have a better result than everybody individually working silo to resolve the issue.
Thank you, Sarah. So if you were to hire someone, what characteristics would you be looking in that potential candidate, Moji?
If I were to hire someone, we're actually doing interviews right now at my office. We've had 2 already this week. We're having 1 tomorrow. I would love to hire somebody who knows data, who understands the fundamentals of data and analytics. I would like to hire somebody who's passionate about working with data, somebody who has a lot of experience with, dealing with data from end to end, from collecting it to, working with it, looking for insights, patterns, finding, recommendations, and then also somebody who has the ability to present the findings, and doing demos and things like that in a professional way. I would like to hire somebody who's curious. You have to be very curious to be, to look for, to know what to have a good eye and know what you're looking for with data and finding things within data. Also somebody who has a great deal of attention to detail. I would love somebody who is a problem solver and a critical thinker as well. And somebody definitely who's collaborative, somebody who, knows, some very good technology to work with data, and then who also, has an interest in, improving their, their knowledge and their, their skill sets and talent, definitely. Yeah, and somebody who's lastly a team player as well.
Thank you. Absolutely, problem solving, collaborative skills are very essential, especially in the IT industry as things change, as new teams form, as projects change. So that is a very, very important skill set to have and develop. And for Sarah, if you were to hire someone, what characteristics would you be looking for a potential candidate?
So I would definitely agree with Emoji with all those characteristics that she has said. Not only just the skills, talents, problem solving, detail oriented, and all that. But apart from that, I would definitely, from my own experience and for the day-to-day job that I do, you can have all the knowledge that you need to do your job. But one thing I've learned at this place is that without people skills, you can't get anywhere. There are so many different teams out there. There's so many higher leaders, executive directors, CEOs that you need to get through some of these projects. And if you do not have people skills, how to negotiate, how to present the projects that you really, want to get this down, you can have all the skills, but I really highly believe that having a people skills and somebody who's also flexible and ready to adapt the change is definitely a very top traits that I would be looking for.
Thank you very much. Also, again, Sarah, what are the current issues and trends in your field should the potential candidate need to be aware of?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yes. What are the current issues and trends in your field should the potential candidates need to be aware of?
So the current challenges, I would say, I mean, there are many challenges, obviously, but there's a lot of competition out there. And things are changing. So ever changing, make sure that, you're willing to adapt and you're willing to understand everything and be able to be flexible and to move on. Yeah.
How about Moji for you? What are the current issues and trends in your field should the potential candidates be aware of?
Some of the first of all, I think what I would recommend for a candidate would be something one of my old bosses taught me at my one of my former jobs is I'll have to teach them about or tell them about the 3 Ls. So when you come into a place you new, you want to look, no matter how much experience you have, you want to look, learn, and listen. So the first thing you do is look and observe, because you may have all the experience, but when you come into a new place, they might do things differently from you. So first you want to kind of look, maybe observant. You learn as you're looking, and then, you listen, and then you learn. You get to learn and grow. Of course, add your skills, whatever skills you're bringing from where you're coming from, or from your past experiences. Some of the challenges would be that I would like to highlight to this candidate are things like, communication, with a lot of different requests and emails and all kinds of, even getting requirements, or, speaking to a group or a client about their request or engagement. It's very easy to drop the ball somewhere with the communication, and once you do that, it affects the the work. It affects the timing, the work, and then sometimes you have to do rework, or you waste time, and that's money. So communication is one big thing. You have to know your audience, depending on who you're working with or talking to. You have to know how to communicate well. Another challenge would be, just making an effort to build relationships with your team members, and really anybody you come across. But the people you're going to be working with on a daily basis is very critical to build relationships with them. Because when you do that, it makes it easier for the team to have a good camaraderie and to be able to connect, make those connections, navigate the team, and work really well together. I would encourage the person to make sure that they're getting up to speed with all the different technologies and tools they're going to be using, because that'll be helpful. And I also encourage the team to reach out when they have issues. So one thing you're going to run into is you need to do something, or you need to talk to someone, or need advice. One of the things I would encourage them to do is just make sure that you're reaching out. Don't get stuck for too long with something. I mean, you try it, but then if you're stuck, reach out to someone in the team, for help, to unblock yourself so you can move on with your work. So definitely, and then set goals for yourself. Don't ever stop learning, and just keep growing. So.
Oh, thank you, Moji. I mean, you touched upon something really important, the 3 Ls: look, learn, and listen, right? So as we know that if you go from even company to company, there's a difference in cultures. And it's very important for a new person who's entering into that particular business or in that company, joining a certain team, they look, they listen, what's going on, and they learn. It's a very crucial skill. And also for communication, it's part of a communication skill that we implement these 3. And it's really nice. Thank you. Okay, Sarah, what type of advice would you give someone who is considering the same type of job that you have?
So I would definitely say for someone who wants to have the same type of job as I do, I have to say that do not, let's say, for example, I'm a product owner, don't just have your knowledge to become a product owner, make sure that you understand your team members. So make sure that you understand what it entails to become a tester or the quality assurance, what it entails to become a developer, so what it entails to have a Scrum Master, because at the end of the day, you will be working with this whole team. And if you only know your part of the area, you will not understand, or you will not be able to connect where the problem is. And if you know your SDLC process, if you know your Scrum process, Agile process, you know some technology, even if you're not a technical person, but SQL, there's few other small technology that you do understand that helps in the day-to-day job to understand your team together. So it's not only you have to know your job, but you also have to know what they are doing, so that when, in order for you to give them a job, you need to understand, do they even have the capacity? When we talk about capacity are we talking about, so if you don't understand the coding or the other situation, it is hard. Yes, you don't need to do that on your daily job as a product owner, but I do definitely advise that you should learn. You don't have to be proficient in that, but just a little, have a little touch of in these different areas.
Thank you very much. It's very important, like you said, you don't have to know everything, but you should know a little bit of many things. So that way you can use that as a foundation to move forward. Thank you. Emoji,
Absolutely.
thank you. Emoji, what about you? If you were, what type of advice would you give someone who is considering the same type of job that you have?
Sure. What I would advise somebody who's considering the same type of job that I have, or any analytics job, to be honest, is to make sure they understand the fundamentals of data analytics. So you may have gone to school or some training to learn it, but make sure that you're doing the extra work on the side, maybe from homework, but make sure you do your research and work on the side to understand what the foundation really is, the fundamentals. Make sure you're solid in that area. And then when you get into a job, it's going to be more than, okay, they're going to tell you in the job description, we want you to do this or know that. It's going to be more than that. So you have to be prepared for the different, areas you're going to be pulled into. You're going to be pulled in many different directions, aside from, what you were hired to do, which is, typical in corporate America. So you have to be ready for that. You have to learn how to balance, all that rigor within the workforce. I would advise them also to have a mentor, different mentors, different people like them. Maybe some people with more experience than they do, some people about the same as they are, maybe somebody who has no experience, because you can learn from, different people. But having mentorship is important too. I would also advise them to set goals for themselves, which is required anyway. So set reasonable goals for yourself. It can be work goals and also personal goals that relate to work. That goes a long way as well, if you're, able to do that. And the last thing is also making sure that you're, seeking or getting feedback somehow from your manager. So usually it comes from one-on-one meetings that are typically scheduled. You have your performance goals at the end of the year, but probably don't want to wait the end of the year to get feedback from your manager, your colleagues. So that's important. Getting feedback, it helps the growth within your career. So those are the advices that I'll give somebody considering my role.
Thank you very much. Also, another question I had is, Sarah, when candidates are going through the interview process and they get accepted, they get the position, and there's one level of nervousness when they're doing the interviews, because you don't know the outcome. They're nervous, it's natural. But then there's another level of nervousness when they start the first day of work. Is there an advice you can give to potential candidates? What can they do?
Absolutely. I can totally relate to that. So there's always that nervousness for the interviews, as well as starting for that first day. And the only advice I can say is that just, keep yourself calm. learn. And I remember learning from IT expert itself is that, learn people, know the people, at least 5 people, new people every day, and make a network for the first 5 to 7 days. And by the end of the week or by the end of the 2 weeks, 30 to 40 people. And that's where you build, you build your network, have a small talk, that coffee talk, and have confidence in yourself. Just make sure that, if you are nervous going to the first day, go back to the job description and see what they were looking for. Make sure that you have all their abilities, and I'm sure you do. Just make sure you brush it up again, so that when you do have to utilize, you have to talk, you are confident, because even though when it's a first day, yes, or first few weeks, it can be a little bit challenging. So just looking at the job descriptions, making sure that you have those skills on your belt, and if anything that's missing or a little foggy, take your extra time after work to brush it up, and so that you can walk in with the confidence again.
Thank you very much. Moji, what about you? What advice would you give to potential candidates who are starting their first day of work after they have cleared the interview process?
Sure. I would advise a candidate who is starting a new job on the first day to hopefully they know who their manager is at that point, and their teammates as well. And hopefully they have maybe a mentor assigned, a work mentor. Some jobs do that, where they assign you a team buddy or mentor, as they call it. At that point, those would be the most familiar people to them. So one thing that I did when I started was I asked for people's names that would be critical or important for me to meet within the team. So that I can, and then I scheduled, my manager gave me like 5 people maybe. And even if they don't go that route, they can just decide on their own to have one-on-one meetings. So I send them messages on Skype, so I don't have to catch them unawares. And I asked, is it okay for me to schedule, some time with you? So I scheduled one-on-one, like 30 minutes with each of them, different days when they have time. And I talked to them about their experience, the background, how long they've been at the bank, So this helped me to build, the communication going, the relationship, the connections, if you will. It gets you familiar with your team members, and then it's easier going forward to be able to, talk to them or ask them questions, or, it really helps you navigating the team. Another thing I would tell the person is you're kind of new, you're observing, you're learning a lot. Hopefully you're also listening as well. I agree with Sarah, is in the beginning, you might want to spend more time, maybe after hours, during work hours, but after hours, kind of going back and revisiting certain areas or certain things that you feel that you need more time on, or more, brushing up yourself more on. So I think it'll be a good time to invest that time initially when you have the extra time to do that, even if it's after work. So, and then just, when you get comfortable after a while, and then you become part of the team. So it's easy to navigate the team that way, I think.
Thank you very much. So one can say that sometimes people come into a work or an interview with a lot of assumptions. And many times those assumptions can be proven not so true, just the underlying nervousness or fear that they may exhibit. But once they actually go through the process, they'll realize that it's not as bad as they thought it would be. And Sarah, Moji, I would really like to thank you for answering our questions and sharing your very valuable knowledge with us. Both of you are in the industry, and both of you are obviously in the financial industry, and you bring a lot of value to this meeting. And again, I'd like to thank you. And I also would like to say that you both mentioned IT Expert, the things you have learned at IT Expert, some of the concepts, and many other skill sets that you carry with you. And also for me, I'm also proud of this organization and the way we look at our students, our relationship to our students, it's not a short-term relationship. We like to build a relationship for your whole career, for your whole working life. It's related to IT, whatever we can do to support you, to teach the latest things, and our doors are always open. And I thank you very much.
All right.
It's my pleasure. And
Thank-
thank you for having us. Definitely, I have to say, IT Expert has been an open house for me. It's like running to the parents' house back home.
Oh, thank you.
And anytime I'm stuck somewhere, I have a question, and whether it's a job related or any skill related, they are very good at answering those questions, replying back via emails super fast. And I'm never stuck. I know that if I have any questions, the first people that come to my mind is an IT expert.
Yes. And well, I know you mentioned mentorship, and mentorship is very important. And I have 2 little kids, and I always tell them that, one thing I have learned is that you can try and experiment, and it will cost you time, it will cost you money. But if you have an expert, if you have a mentor, they will cut life's journey by many years, and they will save you so much time and money and headache. So, experts, it's always a blessing to have a mentor and to be connected to industry experts who can guide you in the right direction. And again, I want to thank you. Thank you, Moji, for your participation, and Sarah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I've known about IT experts for about, say, 4 years now, maybe. And they've been great. I heard about it through a former colleague, still friend, and I haven't left them since. So they've been awesome. They provide support even when I'm not taking classes, and I have referred people to them as well. So it's great. It's a great relationship that I have going on with them. I'm happy
Thank
and
you.
grateful for it.
Thank you. We love the feedback. Thank you so much.